So today's lesson, solving multi-step equations with the distributive property. So again, this should be a review. However, I'm going to take this nice and slow because we do have a homework assignment. So I see for example number 1, I have the equation 4 times the quantity 2x minus 2 equals negative 12. The first thing I'm going to do is draw a river. I am also going to draw arrows. When I draw arrows from my 4 to the terms inside of the parenthesis, that tells me that I need to distribute. Remember, distributing is just a way to eliminate parentheses, and essentially the operation that takes place is multiply. So 4 times 2x is 8x. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8 equals negative 12. All right, now I'm trying to get the 8x all by itself. So what do I have to move away from it? I have to move away the minus 8. What is the opposite or the inverse operation of minus 8? That is plus 8. And whatever I do on one side, I must do on the other. So now I have 8x equals, notice that this is a different sign, subtract. 12 minus 8 is 4. Keep the sign of the bigger number, negative 4. Now I'm going to divide both sides by the number attached to the variable, divide both sides by 8, and I find out that x equals, when I reduce my fraction, negative 1/2. All right. Number 2 has a little bit more going on. Let's take a look at that one. So number 2 is the equation 3 times the quantity x minus 2. I see that that's a distributive property. Minus 2 times the quantity 2x plus 1 equals 10. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. This whole number, this whole term, negative 2, is being multiplied through, being distributed through the next parenthesis. So I have to take negative 2 times 2x, which is negative 4x, and negative 2 times a positive 1, which is negative 2, equals 10. Now in this example, I have to combine some like terms. I have my 2x terms, and then I have my 2 constants. 3x minus 4x is negative x. Negative 6 and negative 2, that becomes same signs, add and keep, which is negative 8 equals 10. I'm trying to get the x all by itself, so I see when I circle my x term that I have to move away this negative 8. The opposite of negative 8 is plus 8. So I have negative x equals 10 plus 8 is 18. Divide both sides by a negative 1, or pull out your magic opposite wand. Remember that. The opposite of a negative x is a positive x, but whatever you do on one side, you have to do on the other. What is the opposite of a positive 18? Negative 18. All right. I think we have 1 or 2 more examples here. So let's look at our second example number 3. I'm going to draw my river, and I'm going to identify the distributive property that needs to take place here. I have to distribute both times. So 1/4 times x is 1/4 x. 1/4 times a negative 4 is actually negative 1. Minus, let's see, negative 2/3 times x is negative 2/3 x. Negative 2/3 times 6 is a negative 4 equals 2. So I'm going to combine like terms. I have this that I can combine. -1 and -4, that's the same signs, add and keep, becomes a -5. I'm going to rewrite this 1/4 x minus 2/3 x. And I'm going to use a trick from the lesson previously to eliminate the fractions. So the first thing I want to do is add 5 to both sides. So I have 1/4 x minus 2/3 x equals 7. Common denominator is 12. That means that I could multiply every single term by 12. When I multiply these by 12, 4 goes into itself one time, 4 goes into 12 3. 1 times 3 is 3x. 3 goes into itself one time, 3 goes into 12 4 times, 2 times 4 is 8. 7 times 12 is 84. 3x minus 8x is -5x equals 84. Divide both sides by a -5. X equals -84/5. Do you need to turn that into a decimal or a mixed number? Absolutely not. Leave it as an improper fraction as long as it is reduced. All right. So that is it. Is there another way to do this without eliminating the fractions? Absolutely. I want to show you that because some of you don't like eliminating fractions. So I want to show you that step. So I'm going to erase this, but I am going to keep my answer. I'm going to keep my answer because I think it's important that I can show you that we are still going to get the same answer each time. So I am going to add 5 to both sides. So I have 1/4 x minus 2/3 x equals 7. I cannot add fractions unless I have a common denominator, so I'm going to have to turn these into a denominator of 12. To do that, I have to multiply this by 3/3, and I have to multiply this fraction by 4/4. So this becomes 3/12 x minus 8/12 x equals 7. 3 minus 8 is -5/12 x equals 7. How do we get rid of a fraction coefficient? We multiply both sides by the reciprocal. Multiply both sides by the reciprocal. -12 times, well, hang on, so these cancel out. This becomes -60 over -60. So x equals 7 times -12 is -84. 1 times 5 is 5. So you can use common denominators, add or subtract fractions by finding a common denominator, or you can eliminate the fractions. It's totally your choice. I want you to use whatever method you feel most comfortable with. Your homework assignment today is a Google Doc. You can actually type right onto that, and then you are going to submit your URL as your assignment. Good luck.